Bachelor in Paradise is over and a new season of The Bachelor is on its way. And with the Paradise finale, we've now got our first look at Zach Shallcross's journey to find love. One that includes a few surprises and even some familiar faces. So let's take a look at this new preview to see what we can sleuth out in our quest to figure out what happens and who Zach might be falling in love with. And if you're new to these videos, there's really only one rule. Please, no posting any spoilers in the comment section below unless you can back it up with sleuthing, and a link to the full, uninterrupted preview is in the description.
That's good. Ooh, got some friction with the stubble there.
Yes, they're giving the people what they want. Close-up shots of Zach in the shower. And they even got Sean Lowe in there, the only bachelor to marry his final pick ever. Hopefully that's signaling that production is really going to focus on cultivating a romantic success story this season, and who am I kidding? I'll see it when I believe it. So, let's keep going.
Bring out the women!
Zach is the most genuine, emotionally intelligent, sweet soul.
Alright, pausing here on a woman named Greer, and ignoring the fact that that rhymed, as we're going to be actually focusing on the locations of the shots from this section. Cause one of the main things I'm looking to do in these initial first look previews is establish locations. If we can figure out a timeline of where this season is going and when, we can then start to identify how far contestants are going based on what shots they're in. Like in this tropical shot, we see a number of women yelling Zach off the balcony. A very common shot we often see at the early midpoint in a season as the women arrive in a new location sometime after leaving the Bachelor mansion. A comparable shot, for example, would be this one from Clayton's season where the women arrived in Toronto, Canada. So what this tells us is that we now know that the women in this shot won't be eliminated each week until we see them arrive at this location. We also now know that Zach will be headed to Europe at some point, including Hungary, as this shot here can be identified as in Heroes Square in Budapest. Of course, as in most seasons, there will likely be more than one European location, but if this season plays out as seasons typically do, they'll be starting off at the Bachelor Mansion, move to this tropical location for the early midpoint of the season, and then Europe will be the pre-hometowns location. After that, if we can then find out the final filming location, well, we're in business, as anyone tied to there can be confirmed as in Zach's final 3 at minimum. But for now, I'll be noting these one-on-one shots and moving on to the next section.
All of us want a guy like that.
Zach is so serious about being a husband and a father.
He knows what he wants. That sets apart a man from a boy.
Alright, pausing here to point out one of the first women to be showcased multiple times already in this preview, Charity. And this shot actually reveals a new location we'll be seeing this season, as they'll be going to Estonia. As if you're like me and didn't immediately notice that this was in the Town Square, what you might have noticed is the lettering in the background that seemed to be reversed. So if we flip the image, we can see proper letters, and a quick Google search of this leads us to a restaurant in Tallinn, Estonia. So we know, at minimum, Charity makes it to a one-on-one in Estonia, which is a great sign for her as that's likely going to be sometime right before hometowns. Otherwise, we have one more pivotal shot to talk about, this one with our top 11 women in London. And with that number, it looks like we were correct in assuming that the pre-hometowns locations are going to be the ones in Europe. And this shot right here will be pivotal in our week-to-week sleuthing for the season, as we now know none of these women will be eliminated at least until they reach London. So I'll try to identify as many of these ladies as I can based on the images The Bachelor released on Facebook, but sometimes these can be deceiving, so if you have any ideas on who I missed, let me know in the comment section below. From left to right, I'm thinking Catherine, looks like Alyssa, maybe Kylie, unknown, perhaps Madison or Mercedes, Jessica, Gabriella, unknown, maybe Caitlin, Kara, or Holland, though I'm thinking Caitlin, Brooklyn, then 2 women at tough to see angles, though I'm going with Greer, and obviously we know that Charity will make it past this date to Estonia, so this is probably her, and finally, Ariel. Again, let me know your thoughts on who each of these women are down below, but there are definitely matches here, and this is going to be a big help in both figuring out who gets eliminated when, and for narrowing things down to our final 4 and final picks. But let's keep going.
Being beside you, I honestly feel like the luckiest girl in the world.
I'm ready for love!
These women are amazing. Ariel has me feeling a certain type of way.
Okay, and here Zach is name-dropping Ariel, who production has bequeathed with a hot tub one-on-one at some point in the season. We also have a couple of classic Bachelor dates with the typical adrenaline date, this time jumping out of a plane, and then it's the sports date we seem to see every year. One that once again has names on their helmet like Mercedes, Gabby, Genevieve, Brianna, and Greer. All of this will be helpful in our week-to-week elimination sleuthing, and here you can also notice the name of this group date, the Bachelor Bowl 5. Oh, and before we move on, we do get a shot of Zach with Christina, who's holding a rose, and is the only woman besides Brooklyn who we've seen in this preview so far that was from the group of women Zach met at the Bachelorette after the final rose. So it's interesting to note that most of the women seen there seem to not be making a big splash this season. Moving on.
What I'm looking for is my best friend, that person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I want my forever person. I want my partner. That's why I'm here. Wild.
Okay, pausing here as we now know the location of this tropical destination. It's the Bahamas. And this is an example of how sleuthing can, at times, be much simpler than you think. As in this shot, we see an underwater statue, and all I had to do was Google underwater statue to find this photo of the Ocean Atlas located in the Bahamas. So, our timeline for the season is slowly coming together. We also get another shot of that same date with Charity, and a tropical date shot with Zach and Brooklyn. But let's keep things moving.
I still feel like this is like a dream. Do I deserve this? I don't know. But I'm pretty damn happy.
We've entered the drama section of the preview, often filled with cryptic crying shots that are impossible to decipher at this point, but we'll take note of them for now as they can typically be helpful the further along in the season we get. Like, this shot could be from night 1, it could even be from the final 3 for all we know. But this shot we know is in the Bachelor Mansion, so it's early on, and it's one we'll actually see a different angle of later on. So let's continue on into the drama.
We all want Zach so that claws are gonna come out.
I'm like already jealous.
This is so awkward.
It's so hard to watch other girls with him.
So once again, we're seeing a series of shots where the context is wildly unknowable, but they still might be useful later on. Like, for example, this random shot seems to be nothing, but for all we know, this woman, I'm thinking Brooklyn again, might be set up in the previews one week as a possible elimination, but if we haven't seen her in this outfit yet, we'll know that she won't be going. You never know when one of these shots might be useful, so for now, all we can do is mark them down and see if they'll come back and help us later. Oh, and of course there's one more date shot with who I think is Brooklyn. She might be one to watch as I feel like her name has come up a few times already. Moving on.
I'm scared he's gonna forget. Like him and I.
Please help me, help me, help me, help me, please help me.
I don't want to lose you.
Tajwan is here, he's still my man.
She really is into him.
We don't need another girl here.
Okay, pause. So just when we thought we were done with Victoria, here she is, back on our screens. And not only that, Tajwan from season 7 of Paradise is here and is apparently trying to join the season. So what's going on here? Well, first off, Victoria must be there to host a date or something. Simple as that. At the time of this filming, Victoria would have still been engaged engaged to Johnny, and production likely would have brought her in trying to capitalize on her success story. Instead, they'll be capitalizing on all the buzz from the end of the season with her and Greg. Tajwan, however, is a bit trickier. Maybe it's another Heather situation where she shows up to try and join the season, but I'm unsure if there's any connection between her and Zach. It could also be a Blake M move where she saw him on his Bachelorette season and now wants to shoot her shot. But considering she's not in this London footage, I'd wager this goes nowhere. Oh, and here's that crying shot once again in Bachelor Mansion, as this woman's outfit here matches the one from earlier. And we can identify this woman as Christina by matching the tattoo here with the one Christina has as seen on her Instagram page. Now, with her also not seemingly in this London shot, perhaps this moment in the Bachelor Mansion leads to her leaving. We'll see.
I mean, this is hard. I feel like a failure. I feel like I let myself down, and I feel like I let the women down.
All I want is a chance with a good guy.
Alright, so before we get into this final moment, there are some more crying shots and dramatic moments with Zach, two of which I want to point out. The first is this one with Greer. Kinda has the feeling of one of those daytime breakups. You know, the ones we seem to see every season where one of the two says they need to see the other and then goes to knock on their door at a random time of the day and then they break up. We'll have to see though, because these shots can be misleading. Like, for example, this other one with Charity. Seems pretty devastating, but if we match her outfit here to this shot from earlier, we can see that this takes place when they're still at Bachelor Mansion, and we know that Charity lasts much longer than this, going to the Bahamas, London, and Estonia. So, whatever happens here is not something bad for Charity, or at the very least, it doesn't lead to her losing any traction with Zach. We gotta be on our toes with these shots, as the previews will often mislead us in an attempt to get us hooked into the season. But alright, we're at the end now, so let's finish this preview off.
I saw something with her. I was not expecting that.
And there you have it. Zach's final moments in this preview are of him crying as someone is sent away. Could be from an endgame rose ceremony, could be from a one-on-one date. But if this is the big dramatic moment the season will be building up towards, it looks like this time around we might be seeing a more traditional season. That being said, it's still too early to tell. Like, for example, with Clayton's season, the first look preview we got there finished with a simple shot of Clayton looking sad that ended up being from his fantasy suite with Susie. However, the next preview we got after that highlighted the uber dramatic roast ceremony from hell. So there's still a chance we'll be seeing more wild drama in a future preview. But for now, we'll have to put our sleuthing caps on hold as it's still 2 months until Zach's season begins. So let's keep note of everything we've seen here so we can make our final predictions after night 1, and of course, if a new preview drops, I'll be here to cover it all. So that's it for this first look preview of Zach's season of The Bachelor. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more, as there's always more content on the way while we wait for Zach's season. And until next time, Bachelor Fan Take, out.
Tajwan is here. He's still my man.
She really is into him.
We don't need another girl here.
I mean, this is hard. I feel like a failure.